At last. Sorry, I had to go with the callback on the intro this one. As you can tell, even my lighting reflects the mood. Nerds of the Roundtable is back, baby, and we got a special episode back for you at the end of the, well, technically the year's already over. We are recording on January 1st, 2022, but we are back for our year 2021 in review. Plus, as you can tell, we're going to give you our thoughts, our review, our opinion on the Matrix Resurrection. What's up, everybody? I am your boy, Antonio Padilla. With me, the return, Cliff, the Red Dog Miller, the winner of Rising Star 2021. That's right, official. He won. Cliff Miller, the Red Dog. You're back. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's good to be back, and I did not come empty-handed.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Can't forget. Kayfabe Junkies champion. That's right. Inaugural champion. The first, which means nobody else can be the first inaugural champion of Kayfabe Junkies. That's me. But yeah, definitely. And then also Kayfabe's Green Bean of the Year, the Rookie of the Year.
I'm talking about, man. That's my boy right there. That's my boy. So proud of you. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. That is awesome. Brought the belt and everything, man. That is so dope. Man, like, Cliff, you got to understand, over this whole holiday season, I've been talking you up to everybody, man. I'm like, that's my boy. He's chasing his dream. I'm so proud of him. Like, I'm giving him all the support. Like, no joke, man. No joke. I talked to you about everybody who will listen. When the results for Rising Star came in, I told everybody. I was like, right, my boy won. I'm just letting you know, man.
I was super excited.
I'm putting it out there. So, so ladies and gentlemen, the Red Dog has returned to the table, and with us also, Mr. Swagtastic. Swag, say what's up.
What's up?
There
How
he
you
is. Short, sweet. He is once again the disembodied voice. But yeah, we're gonna roll with it, and it's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any time because Cliff and I, we have not spoken about this, so this is gonna be our first time talking about it. We've all seen it. Let's not waste any time, but be mindful. Spoilers, major spoilers coming at you for the Matrix Resurrections. If you haven't seen it, shut this off. Go watch it. You can watch it on HBO Max. You can go to the theaters, whatever. Just be safe about it. Come back, finish this episode. Cliff, man, I am genuinely curious what you thought of this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I know a lot of people. I saw a lot of people's opinions out there about how they were just like it was like hit and miss. But not for me. I really enjoyed it. I thought like if there was some kind of hiccups in there, but and I'm not gonna say it was a perfect movie because it wasn't. But like I loved a lot of meshing ideas that we were trying to put together. So I thought overall I was like, yo, man, this is a fun movie. And if you are trying to mesh the old world with a new one, like you did a pretty good. You had a pretty good solid start.
I agree, man. I agree 100%. I enjoyed this movie. And I basically just echoing your sentiments. Like, did I think it was perfect? No. But I enjoyed it. I was entertained. I had fun. Like, I was telling Swag, because I saw it before he did, and I was like, dude, you got to watch it. Because like, he finally watched the trilogy prior.
Experienced it,
he watched
finally.
The trilogy. He even watched the Animatrix. Proud of him. Proud of him.
That's why I said I experienced it, finally.
You got the full experience. But I saw Resurrections before he did, and I was like, dude, you got to watch it because, like, genuinely, I had a big smile on my face for a good portion of the movie, and I was like, I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna dig it. Swag, what were your thoughts? What were your opinions on the movie?
Yeah, no, like I liked it, and like like it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good, especially coming back after however many years and kind of continuing the story and finding ways to continue the story. They did a pretty good job. And even just all the new stuff that they've done and all the new like background in the lore and the world was just interesting to find out and like hear about and see. So that was fun, and again, like even just the movie, like even the action sequence, they were fun, like the originals, like they were awesome. So yeah, like I had a good time. I enjoyed it, especially after watching all of that before
Yeah.
watching this. Like it was just fun having it all fresh in my head before I watched this one. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. I do want to sort of talk a little bit about, because, like Cliff said, there were a lot of opinions on. I saw it as well. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it was garbage. It was this. It was that. Blah blah blah." Uh, I want to remind everyone out there, because I saw a lot of this happening, a lot of history rewriting, where people were trashing this movie, but like holding up Reloaded and Revolutions, like, "Oh, this is god tier stuff." I need to remind people, Cliff, and you remember, people did not like Reloaded and Revolutions at the time when they came out. Did not. They trashed those movies the way people are trashing Resurrections right now. And like, by the way, me and Cliff did not. Like, we loved Reloaded and Revolutions when they came out. Like, we were all about that life. But people trashed those movies, like critics, fans. So to see like history kind of repeat it, it's kind of ironic considering the movie is about like, you know, there are themes of like repeating loops and like history and all this stuff, and like you said, Cliff, meshing the old with the new and stuff. So that genuinely made me laugh. But like, again, I was like, I have to address this because I see so many people talking about it. It's like, you guys are the same people who did not like the sequels when they came out. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to you. If you didn't enjoy it, you didn't enjoy it, I guess. But don't try and rewrite history. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. But
Yeah, I think about
Go
that
ahead.
all the time too, because I was like, I think about that all the time, where like we legit. I remember like going and watching the first Matrix, and people were like, this is how movies are supposed to be experienced. This is perfection. And then when Reloaded came out, everybody was like, this movie sucked. This is the worst. This is a terrible sequel. This is not how you do franchises and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And now to hear people come back and be like, this trilogy was perfect. Like, no, man, it wasn't. And to hear people say that, like, God tier, no, upper echelon, not God tier.
For sure. But like, yeah, it's just so weird to hear people. I don't know, and I guess like people just don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, it must be that thing where people just don't remember what the actual reaction. Because I remember, because I was thinking about this, Cliff. I was thinking about it hardcore. Because I had to really stop and put myself back in like 2003. The reaction to Reloaded was the first time I remember being aware of like critics and fans not liking a big blockbuster. I mean, I know it wasn't the first time that it ever happened, but I'm saying it was the first time I was aware of it. Because prior to that, Cliff, and you remember, it was like you would see a movie, you would see a big blockbuster movie. You'd go to school, you'd talk to your friends about it, and you'd be like, oh, this was cool. That was cool. This was awesome. It was hardly ever, oh, this sucked. This was bad. The story was awful. The script sucked. You just talked about the stuff you liked. You know what I mean? And you would geek out about it with your friends. But Reloaded, again, I think it was whatever the age I was what, 16 at the time? So, yeah, and it was like right towards the end of high school. And it was the first time I remembered seeing people on TV talk about the movie, and they were just like tearing it apart. And I was like godsmacked. I was like, people didn't like this movie? Like, I was so confused because it was that thing where, like I said, like it was just you, me, our friends, and we talk about it. Oh, that fight scene was so cool. How cool was it to go back to this world and blah blah blah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, it was just, these movies mean a lot to me in the sense that like the first movie blew my mind. The sequels was the first time that I think I experienced kind of a negative backlash to a thing that I loved. So yeah, I mean, like I feel like we have to address all that when talking about new movie because again, it seems like there's a lot of history repeating itself. But go ahead, Cliff. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I remember in high school, right? Like, people were talking about the Matrix Reloaded. This was legit. Someone said to me, it was worth the $7.50 to see the Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, I remember.
That was legitimately someone told me that. They're like, I paid $7.50 to watch the Star Wars trailer. I did not like the Matrix Reloaded. I was like, that's a lot.
There's a lot to take in at the time, but yeah, no, it's always I guess it's always just sort of been complicated talking about the Matrix. But regardless, that's the past. Let's get into the present. Let's talk about this movie. I want to sort of start with, let's talk about the cast because there's a lot of returning cast members. There's a lot of new cast members. I really liked. First of all, again, we're gonna spoil the crap out of this movie, so why not start? Jada Pinkett Smith as Niobe. Was not expecting them to take the route that they did with that character, but boy, was I pleasantly surprised. You know, old woman Niobe, I thought was cool, and it was great that we did get like a quick little flashback, and we did get to see her young again. That was great, and I like that she. Yeah, I like that she was sort of. I don't know. Would you say she was in charge of Io, the new city? Because it seemed like she was. I know she was a general, but it also kind of felt like she was running the show at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's exactly what they wanted her to do. Is like, you know, with Zion kind of going the way it did, she was like, "Yeah, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna make things work." And very much, she was controlling all the puppets.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I loved seeing Jada back. Cliff, what do you think of that, man? Because I know you're a big fan of Jada, always have been, and like likewise. But like, what do you think? Like, were you expecting them to do that with her, or like?
I think aging her as far as they did, I didn't expect that part. I kind of figured that. I for some reason I thought the movie was going to take place like only like a few years after the events of Revolutions, but it was really eye-opening to be told that, by the way, for those who don't know, and we just told you, heavy spoilers, 60 years was the time difference. And yeah, I was like, okay. So, but that makes me wonder though, like, because she was like in her 30s, like at least in her 30s during Revolutions, right? Like 60 years. She's 90. She's still like kicking it. She's rest in peace. But she was Betty Whiting it. Like, you look good. I was like, what's up?
Yeah. No, but like no, totally. And that like kind of because I was thinking about it too, and I was like, she'd be like 90, somewhere in her 90s. And I was like, I mean, I guess that makes sense. We see like humans and the machines coexisting and working together. It's like, I mean, I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could extend human life as well. And again, like that's one of the swag. Chime in if you want. But one of the things I loved about this movie was, like Cliff, you were saying like you were expecting it to be like a couple years after Revolutions. I loved that this whole movie was like, you think you know what this movie's gonna be, you think you know the story, but it's actually this. Like, I love that it wasn't just a rehash of the previous three movies. It wasn't the humans and the machines are at war again, and that's why we need Neo. It's like, no, the humans and the machines are coexisting with one another. In fact, the machines kind of turned on each other. You know, that was cool. And like, and even like, oh, like Zion's not even around anymore. Zion kind of destroyed itself because they were stuck in the past. And we go to this new city. We see Io, and again, like everything, including me, like what even I thought this movie was going to be, was not what they gave me. And that's what I loved about it. Like, again, it didn't feel like we weren't just watching a remake of the previous three movies, you know?
Yeah.
And that felt fresh. That felt really cool. And like, yes, they did pay homage to the previous, like, the whole opening of the movie is basically a remake of the opening to
Yeah.
The Matrix with a few like WTFs here and there. But yeah, man, I really dug this movie. Swag, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, no, I loved it. Like, again, to the point of like subverting expectations. Like,
Yeah.
giving us something that we didn't see coming was definitely welcome, and it was very nice, and it helped with, the enjoyment of the movie, because we didn't know. Like, we had our, theories and everything, especially over the last few years. Like, everybody's heard of at least one or two theories of what could have happened after the last one. So,
Yeah.
like, coming in and then giving us a completely different thing than what we were expecting was definitely nice, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like the opening, because even I was starting to realize, like, wait a minute, like, what is going on? And then the more we got into it, and the more we started to see, like, the brooms, the doorways, that was fun. Like, them using that to get out and like escape was fun. And also like mentioning the key maker and all that, and doing all this stuff was just, it was cool. It was nice. Again, like, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was great. Speaking of like, because we're gonna touch on everything every night when we start talking about something. Cliff, what were some of your standout moments, man? Like, whether it's the cast, whether it's the story, action beats, whatever.
I'm gonna be honest, man. That opening sequence was so lit to see again, and it was just cool to see like a different character like in that role. But they're still talking about Trinity, and then like the twist right towards the end, where like you think it's Agent Smith, but then you find out that it's actually Agent Morpheus. Like, we're just gonna use that. But it was just cool to see Morpheus like right there, just in that whole turn, and then everybody kind of turns on each other, and it was like, oh shit, like what happened? That was like one of my favorite moments. I'm gonna be honest, seeing the return of Merovingium, like,
Yeah.
Dude,
and
just like the way.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I was like, I love that the Merovingian is basically a hobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the
you
complete opposite
took away everything from me.
Yeah.
Exactly, like Swag was saying, it's like the complete opposite of who he was prior, and that's so fun. It's so fun because you take this guy who is, he's basically Hades, right? For the lack of a better, he's the devil, if you will.
Yep.
And then you turn him into a homeless person version of that character, who's basically just surviving on the fringes of the new Matrix. Like, that's awesome. That's great. I love that. And Lambert Wilson, he went full, like, he didn't hold anything back, man. Like, he went straight, like, off the deep end with his, which I appreciated. So, yeah, man, that was great. That was great to see him again.
I love the fact, and here's like the other standout thing that I loved. So I love that the idea was that we made the Matrix a video game.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, not that I would knock, like, our listeners probably know, our viewers probably know, but there's some people out there who didn't even know that, Enter the Matrix is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be told like Neo is a video game designer, I was like, how much of a role? Like, how offbeat would that be? Because it's not that off track that he would be that person.
Yep.
So I genuinely was like, yo, that was great.
He was already a coder. For those of you who are listening, I am holding up my copy of Enter the Matrix on PlayStation 2. Yep. Still got it, Cliff. Still got it. And this wasn't even fun. It's literally just right here next to where we record. So, yeah, I do still have my copy. But yeah, no, that's great, man. I love, but also, okay. I have so many thoughts. I have so many, like, again, like we were talking about how, the opening of the movie kind of mirrors the original movie with the Trinity and the agents and all that stuff. But also when we get to Thomas Anderson in the present, you know, he's at his desk where he's not asleep like he was originally, but his dialogue is exactly the same. Like he looks at his computer, sees something's wrong, he's like, what the hell? You know, and it's the same dialogue, which again, it's like, yeah, they're showing you something that we've already seen, but it was done in a way where I was like, that's cool, man. Like, what a great way to revisit that moment.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
You know what else I really liked too, like a good throwback. Well, it wasn't really a throwback, but it was kind of like a foreshadowing, a foretelling of like things that were gonna happen. Is that every once in a while, if you looked off in the background, like you just see the matrix coding just somewhere in the shot, and I was like, I kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
even when it was like, I think there was like a trash can, it was like a metallic trash can, and you could tell the coding was coming from behind him. I was like, I kind of like that. I thought it was kind of cool.
Straight, I'm glad you touched on that because I feel like that was a callback to. And Cliff, I don't know if I told Swag about this, and I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you saw Revolutions in IMAX like I did, but if you saw Revolutions in IMAX back in the day, during the big fight with Neo and Smith, you could see some of the rain was actually the digital rain. Like,
Nice.
you could only see it in IMAX though, because I've tried to find it like on DVD, on Blu-ray, can't see it because the resolution isn't as giant as it is on the IMAX screen. But if you saw it on IMAX, you could see the digital rain code in the rain. So I feel like that was a callback to that. Yeah, that's a pretty neat little moment. Yeah, I really like that as well. I want to give a shout. Oh, go ahead.
Was it real quick? Yeah, like bringing up effects like that.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I wanted like the movie is visually like amazing. Like it's great. It looks great.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It great visual style. It just looked clean, man. It was real clean. And I know a lot of people had issues with that because like it doesn't look like the previous trilogy.
Mhm.
But I always point to, and Cliff, I'm sure you picked up on this because you're an observant guy. It looks like, remember the final scene in Revolutions where you see all the like sepia tones and the warm colors for the first time?
Yeah.
That's why this movie looked like that, because we're going with that look. But yeah, no, I thought the movie looked incredible. Visual effects were astounding. I have we could go on and on about that. I do want to shout out though, because like I mentioned the cast, like obviously Keanu, Carrie, Jada, and Lambert Wilson, who came back from the original trilogy. They were all killing it. They were all crushing it. But I want to give a shout out to Jessica Henwick, who plays Bugs. Like, she phenomenal, fantastic, killed it. She was probably my new favorite cast member. Probably. Yeah, I'd say that. But I also want to give a special shout out to our boy Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, because he had probably the most daunting task in playing Morpheus. You know, following up Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
And that has to be like so terrifying for an actor to do. But I was telling Swag this because he and I did talk about it a little bit. Cliff, I just recently saw the new Candyman, like literally right before The Matrix came out. And, you know, Yahya's in that movie. He's in this movie. And after I saw The Matrix, I was like, you know what? I was already a fan, but Yahya straight up is like one of my favorite actors of all time now. Like, watching him go from like Black Manta and Aquaman to Watchmen, where he plays who he plays, I'm not going to spoil that, to Candyman, to The Matrix, and seeing him play such a wide variety of characters and watching him pull it off as well as he does, I got nothing but respect for that man. Like, it's phenomenal. And like, I know some people were still kind of upset that it wasn't Lawrence Fishburne, but I mean, the movie gives you a reason why it's not him, you know?
Right.
It's not just that Morpheus is canonically dead. but also this version of Morpheus comes from the code that Thomas Anderson coded, and that's why he doesn't look like Lawrence Fishburne. That's also why the Trinity we saw in the opening didn't look like Carrie-Anne Moss. So all this stuff working together was great, and I thought Yahya was like, he did such a good job of paying homage to Lawrence Fishburne with his performance, but also doing his own thing, making this version of the character his own. And I really, really enjoyed his performance. Also, shout out to Jonathan Groff, who plays Smith in this movie, because once again, such a terrifying thing to ask an actor to do.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you're gonna play Smith, who was previously played by the phenomenal, the fantastic Hugo Weaving. And by the way, for anyone out there asking, Hugo was supposed to come back, but he had scheduling conflicts with a stage production he was doing. He just couldn't do it. But again, there's a reason in the movie as to why he looks different. And again, I think it makes sense. It makes total sense that they did this to Smith. And I thought Jonathan Groff did a great job with his performance. I really enjoyed what he was doing. Would I have loved to see Hugo? Obviously, of course, that's not even a question. But I thought Jonathan Groff did phenomenal. What did you guys think of, like Yahya and Jonathan? Cliff, I'll throw it over to you.
Nah, I was already on board with Yahya. Like, I felt like
Yeah.
I kind of like already, especially after like Aquaman, I was like, I'm already kind of on board with him anyway. So just kind of rode with it. I was like, I'm just gonna let it ride, because I've previously been wrong about a lot of other people playing characters, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna decide now. But what I did like was I loved all the costume changes that he got to do, because like his suit game was A1.
Yeah.
Everything. I was like, he had that one scene with the blue suit. I was like, ooh, look at Lawrence Fishburne could never pull this off, man.
Yahya had so many suits that I want. I could never pull them off as well as he does, but I'd try.
Right, because you remember, like in the poster, right? He's there with the purple suit and the green tie. He looks like Joker, and everybody was like making fun of him. I was like, and then like I felt like when you watch the movie and you saw him go from like the black suit to the yellow to the orange, the blue to the purple one, the throwback, right? Yeah. I felt like everybody was like, I'm not mad at him. Like he looks so good in this, and his acting on top of it was phenomenal. I loved the scene where they're in the bathroom and he just like reaches in the mirror and he's like, "Come on, yeah."
We didn't have time for this.
I love that scene. His demeanor, like, it was both very much like an homage to Lawrence Fishburne, but he had his own twist on it, and I was very much appreciative of it. Jonathan Groff, I was already like, like, as soon as they announced it, I was like, I don't care. This man is on point with everything. I knew he was gonna kill it, and so when I saw him, and he just came, and he's Mr. Anderson, I was like, let's go.
Yeah. Yes, I was so hyped. I love that moment when Smith sort of reawakens. Like, because the way he plays that scene is so like perfect. Like he walks in and he sees it and he's like genuinely like, oh my God, what is happening? And then you see it like click. You see everything he's doing. You see it. It's such a phenomenal performance, man. It's so good.
Oh yeah, I was on board with everything.
What about you? How do you feel about these new versions of these classic characters?
Yeah, no, I love like again, styling, man. My eyes were always on him when he was on screen, because the colors popped and they just couldn't look away. It was amazing. But yeah, like his acting was on point, as it always is. Like, even I knew, like, I had faith in him from the start. Like, again, like Aquaman and all the other stuff, like, he's good. He's really good. And then seeing him in this, it's like, had no doubt, and my point is proven. So it's like, it's like, I loved him playing Morpheus. And again, it's not technically it's not the Morpheus we know, but it's he's still got his similarities. But it was still nice to kind of get like kind of his take on Morpheus a little bit, which was nice. And again, like a lot of like the jokes and dialogue that he had were great. Like that, he always got me to laugh every time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
he did. He had some of the best lines in the movie.
He did. Yeah.
That was great.
And like, yeah, like Smith, like it was the thing for me. Like I didn't know what to expect, but the first scene where you see him at the window saying the line, like it was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But again, like he didn't do that the whole movie, and that didn't make it a bad performance. It was a great performance.
Yeah.
And that brings me to like a point that I had. Like he could have just done an impression the whole time, but he didn't, and it worked, and it was good. So yeah, like I'm glad that they picked these people to play these characters. It worked really well.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% because that his introductory scene is like the only time in the movie he straight up does an impression of Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy for him to just do that the whole movie, but he didn't,
Yeah.
And like you could say the same thing for Yahya. It would have been so easy for him to just do an impression of Lawrence.
Yep.
And he didn't, and that's to me that's the mark of a good actor and a great performance. Seeing the easy route to take and then being like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I have such high regard for both of these guys and their performances. Like I could just sit and talk about them all day, But but we got to talk about more of the movie. But yeah, that they definitely thumbs up for me for the both of them. It was great. And how great was it? Because even Smith, we're talking about like the subversion of expectation with the story and character. Smith really surprised me in that, again, like when you see him reawaken and like he's pointing the gun at, and you think like, oh, here we go. They're just going to be trying to kill each other again. And they're actually kind of allies for most of the movie.
Yeah.
I really like that because, and again, like I think this speaks to Jonathan Groff and Keanu. Like even when they're fighting each other, they have that great fight scene, and they're fighting each other, beating the crap out of each other. Even that is done with like a familiar, like I'm beating you up, but like we're buddies, like it's like like we're friends, like which I really liked. I really liked that that's the route they took. It's like we've been doing this a while. Let's like But I respect that. I really like that. I really enjoyed it. So I thought that was a really cool way of approaching Smith in this new movie. Cliff, any thoughts on that?
No, I just liked like right towards the end, right when obviously we start to get everything put together and kind of cool transition, I guess, if we were going to kind of move it this way, but I want to talk about it because Neil Patrick Harris is obviously in the movie and he's actually controlling time. And to watch Smith just walk out, just jacked him right in the jaw.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
I love that part because then all of a sudden you saw like right when Smith and Neo are together and he was like, looks like our truce is over. And I was like, oh, we going back to this. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I just love that he just punched just Nick Patrick Harris in the face.
That was a dope moment. Yeah. That was one of those moments where if you had told me in 2003 that I would cheer for Smith like that, I would have told you were crazy. But I did. I legitimately was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was such and yeah.
We gotta talk too. Another part, like just how cool and calm like Jonathan Groff like played this character. Like everywhere he came in, he just was like, yeah, I'm that guy. It's just every single time I was like, dude, like there's a whole fight scene going on. He's just cruising to the crowd, like, hey, move to the left, buddy. Hey, on your right, on your left. Flying.
You're absolutely right, man. Like again, like it goes to talk. It's to talk about his performance. Like he played Smith so like almost like he's over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like again, like he does everything with like a familiarity. Like we've been here. Like we've done this for however long. Like I'm over it. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like which I dig. I like that. I feel like Smith would kind of be over the whole thing at this point. He's like, how many times I get blown up? I've lost count at this point. Like, so yeah, man, I loved everything Jonathan Groff did as Smith. Like, I mean, he's great, man. He's great. He's phenomenal. Yeah. And yes, I love that was sort of the wrap up to his story in this movie, where he's just like, well, looks like our brief alliance has come to an end, and then he just pops out of there.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Oh man, there's so much. All right. Let's talk about this. I want to get both of you guys' opinions on this because, I mean, I did talk a little bit to Swag about this a little bit already, but I'll get your whole thoughts on it. So, again, talking about how the thing I appreciated most was that the movie wasn't just a rehash of what we had already seen. Right? It's not the war against man and machine again. It's not even really about freeing humanity from the Matrix. I mean, it is a little bit, but honestly, the whole thing was this intimate, like, love story, you know, about this connection between two human beings and how powerful that is, you know. Like, I really appreciated that. I really did. Like, I thought that was clever, but also, like, what a great way to expand upon that story, the love story between Neo and Trinity, you know, which was a big part of the previous trilogy. You know, like how many times did their love transcend death? 3 times,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Their love transcended death 3 times, and it's like, yeah, I feel like people don't pay that aspect of the story as much attention and appreciation that it deserves, because it, you know, I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, I mean, like, that's one of the great love stories, man. And like how Neo talks about how he never believed that he was the one. He never even believed in the one. But Trinity believed in him. And her love for him and her belief in him was what allowed him to do the things that he did. And then likewise, in this movie, he realizes it's his turn to believe in her the way she did him. And that's ultimately what allows her to do the things that she can do in this movie. And it's like, that's such a beautiful, like, representation of that love story. Like, such a beautiful, like, way to expand that, you know? And it's just like, that was great, man. I wasn't expecting it, but man, did I love it. Swag, what about you, man? How did you feel about that?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that. And like going through the movie and hearing him talk about, like, I didn't believe that I didn't think that I was the one. Like, I didn't believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep hearing him say that over and over again. It was like, yeah, like I kind of thought so. That it wasn't really a thing of like, oh, he really thought that that was him, that that was his thing. It was more, it was something else. And then yeah, like it was just the love between him and Trinity, and that was what pushed him to do what he did in all those movies. Especially considering, like, yeah, like their love was the reason why they made it out of so much of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like doing that here where they kind of flip it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really cool to see that. And kind of prove that idea of that it's not like, you know, like it's not just set in stone, like fate or whatever. Like the prophecy, it wasn't just like a thing that was set in stone. Like clearly somebody else could have done what he did, but he was the one who did it because, you know, he had that love and that that connection, and that's what, allowed him to do things that he did. And like, yeah, like we see Trinity fly and do all that stuff. She couldn't do that before. So it's like, yeah, that proves like could have been somebody else in that position.
Yeah. And that's that. Man, I'm glad you brought that up, because again, like, gotta bring it back to Smith, because I feel like that idea of the story is really hammered home with, again, in his final scene. He says, the difference between you and me is anyone could have been you, whereas I've always been anyone. And that's when he takes off. I was like, yeah, man, like there is that idea that, like, I mean, you're 100% right, dude. Like, as much as I'm like, this movie is much more of a focused, like, love story between these two people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that there isn't a lot of the same, like, philosophical and, like, deep thinking themes and ideas that are in there, because, like, that, again, like, even with the love story, this intimate love story, it is like you said, like, that love is what allowed the both of them to do what they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. It might not have necessarily been Thomas Anderson. It might have been, I don't know, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that love between those two people that's why Trinity was so integral to Neo.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Oracle told her, you would fall in love, and the man that you loved would be the one. She didn't necessarily say, you're going to fall in love with the one. No, you're going to fall in love, and the man you fall in love with will be the one. Like, that wording makes all the difference.
Yep.
So
yeah,
man, that's crazy stuff. Crazy, and like I said, I think it's beautiful. I love that. Cliff, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I love the aspect that we were getting back into the love story, right? Of between Trinity and Neo, like, you had mentioned, right, in the first movie, in the first Matrix, like, it was obviously Neo, and he died, quote unquote, and Trinity's love brought him back. And then in the second one, we saw Trinity, she was dying, and then Neo brought her back. And in the third one, obviously they both died, right? It is what it is. But because of their connection, and it was even alluded to in the film, right? Their connection was so strong that the Matrix couldn't register it. And so they wanted to recreate it and bring it back. So what they knew is they needed the bodies to at least reanimate them and bring them back and fix them, so that they could get that same connection back, so they could go back to try to understand it, which, again, they couldn't, because they separated them too. They recoded them to just see if anything would happen. And sure enough, like, they found each other again. And I love the fact too that, like, we saw that they were different people, because, like, even while we're watching Thomas Anderson talk, it's a bald dude. It's a balding old white guy. And then when we see Trinity talking, it's a blonde, right? It's a blonde. It's a woman with blonde hair. Coincidentally, probably could have been the same one with a red dress. Who knows? Just age, right?
But I was thinking,
anyway. Mouse, we haven't forgot about you. But anyway, so, like,
never forget.
Never forget, Mouse. But it was like that great connection of like seeing, like, they could always come back and reconnect and come together. And I love, like, too, where Trinity, like, at the end, when her husband, right, spoiler for those who didn't know, she was married. Yeah, that's right, Neo's a homewrecker. Anyway, so Trinity's getting pulled.
Hold up. I got to mention real quick, because that was one of my favorite things about this movie, and I was waiting for a moment to bring it up. Can we talk about the fact that she was married to Chad Stahelski, who is Keanu Reeves' stunt double? Like, that alone, I could write an entire paper on that, like, why that's... Like, where she's like, this is my husband, Chad, and it's Chad Stahelski. I was like, so you mean Trinity is married to Keanu Reeves' stunt double? That makes so much sense, man. That makes so much sense that the machines would do that. Like, they created a fake husband for her who vaguely resembles the man she was in love with in a previous. Like that. I saw him come in on the screen, and I was like, get out of here. Like, I was like, oh my God, that is freaking brilliant. Like, that is amazing. I could write a whole paper on that. Just like, That was brilliant. But yeah, go ahead, Cliff. I'm sorry.
I just love how like right towards the end, right when they're like trying to pull her, they'd be like, hey, our daughter's in the hospital, we gotta go, right? And like kept pulling, and finally she just like realized that the connection that she had to this world will never be as strong as the connection that she had to Neo. And like obviously then she broke loose, and then she came back and started fighting for him. But I just think like genuinely like it just shows that I know a lot of people always do like the cliche thing where like love conquers all, but clearly in the Matrix love does conquer all.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I said, like their love transcended death 3 times. Like if that doesn't lead you to believe in the power of love, which by the way, that was the machine's objective in bringing them back, was that their love was so powerful they wanted to use that as the new power source.
Yeah.
Like that's look, like, I'm with you, Cliff. That's pretty awesome, man. But yeah, no,
essentially what we found out was the Matrix was actually Match.com.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just Match.com went way too far.
Way too far. So you guys, what I need you guys to do is
really
Match.com, eHarmony, OnlyFans. You guys gotta stop logging off that stuff, okay? Plenty of Fish. You guys gotta go with Tinder. All that's gotta go. Okay? It's just the Matrix. That's what it is.
We all thought it was gonna be Skynet, but it's actually dating sites. So
Skynet, which was like a military program. Nope. It's dating sites.
Sleight of hand. But magicians over here.
All that swipe, gotta knock it off.
You're powering the end of the world swiping.
Yes. Oh man. I feel like we could write a whole movie just right there. But yeah, no man, I genuinely enjoyed this movie, man. I really did. I mean, like, look, there's still a lot of stuff we could talk about, but we've been going here for almost an hour now, so we got to start wrapping this up. Because, like I said, we still have some more show to do. But look, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. Do I think it's perfect? Do I think it's as good or better than the original? Nah. But it was still great. It was still a fun time. Like I said, I had a big old smile the majority of the movie. And I thought that we didn't even really talk about Neil Patrick Harris. I thought he was great as the analyst. I thought he was fantastic. Shout out to NP. Like, especially since he just was in 8-Bit Christmas, where he's like the dad. And then to see him play like a really menacing AI here, which I thought and again, like he plays 2 different sides to it. He's like the analyst who is like, he's like, Thomas, this isn't real. Like, you're in a safe space. And then he turns into like, I'm going to blow your girlfriend's brains out if you don't do what I tell you. Like he plays it so well. I believed both of those sides. So yeah, shout out to Neil Patrick Harris. Loved it. But yeah, I like this movie. I really like it. I thought it was great. I had fun. Scale of 1 to 10. I'd probably give it an 8. Yeah. I'd give it an 8. It's good. It's solid. I really liked it, and I would highly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Cliff,
especially to Matrix fans.
Especially to fans. Yeah. Cliff, final thoughts and your rating.
Oh, I'm just gonna touch back. Like, I kind of been dropping about it. Neil Patrick Harris was definitely like the talking point in this movie a lot. And as far as breakout characters, I would definitely agree. Bugs was definitely the breakout character, but there is just something about Neil Patrick Harris and just like the cool, calm demeanor side that he is, and then just a flip switch, right? It's cool to see that Doogie Howser has evolved so much.
It's funny you say that, 'cause, like my dad still sees him as Doogie Howser. Like every time he's in a movie, he's like, "Oh, Doogie Howser." But yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and I'll give the movie 8.5.
Right on. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that. Swag, what about you? Final thoughts and rating.
I mean, like we talked all little details, so you guys know how I feel about all that. But like, as terms like in general stuff, like broad stuff, like the cast was phenomenal. Everybody did great. And again, like it was good to come back to this world again and see what's going on. So that was nice. So yeah, 8. I'm just gonna 8 was good.
Right on. Right on. I think we all agree this was a solid installment and follow up. So yeah, I don't get the hate. I don't agree with it. I think it's a good movie. Go check it out. Make up your own mind. That's what I'm saying. Just go watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might agree with us. You might not. Either way, just go watch it and let us know what you think. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Matrix Resurrections. Like I said, it's out in theaters. You can watch it on HBO Max. Just check it out. Yeah, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The final review of the year. Although I guess coming up, we're going to be giving like mini reviews. So
Yeah.
it's not the final review, but yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to talk about. Like I said, we are recording on January 1st, 2022. So we're going to give you our 2021 in review. So this is just going to be us talking about our top 5 favorite things in regards to. We're going to lead with video games. We're going to talk about music, TV, and movies, and then we're going to call it a day. So that being said, because again, when we were doing the pre-show, I think we all kind of agree. I mean, I don't know how many Cliff has, but Swag and I shockingly did not have a whole lot of video games.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to lead with. I'll start because honorable mention goes to Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I know the game came out in 2019, but I only just started playing it this year, and I love this game. I think it's the game I've sunk the most hours into this year. And so, yeah, honorable mention because, again, did not release in 2021, but I only just started playing it this year, and I'm having a great time. The only brand new game that I did experience this year was Life is Strange: True Colors, and I had to think about it. I was gonna say it's a 10 out of 10 game, but if I'm being honest, I'm gonna knock it down to 9.5.
Yeah.
And that's like it's a great game. It's a solid game, especially if you're a fan of the Life is Strange franchise. Definitely check this one out. It was phenomenal. It was a great experience. The characters were great. It got closest to the original game in terms of delivering the same like experience without it just being a rehash of the original.
Yeah.
The original is obviously a 10 out of 10 game for me. Like that game, phenomenal, flawless. But this one, being a sequel, I think it's as close as we can get to that original. Yeah. So 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 9.5 for me. I loved it. I would definitely play it again. So yeah, and I highly recommend it 10. But those are like my only 2 contributions to the video games list.
Yeah.
Because like I said, surprisingly, I did not play a whole lot of new games this year, unlike last year where I played a bunch. So I'm going to hand it over to Swag. What do you have on your list, man?
Yeah. I actually did kind of think it over a little bit more, and I did play a lot more than I initially thought. So that's good. I will lead with like the weakest ones first, like the ones that I didn't play as much or didn't really get the full experience out of. And then I'll lead up to like the ones that I've been playing even now. So I would like to start with Hitman 3. I did get to play that. That was if you've played Hitman before, it's that, but just I got into it because I watched a bunch of people, specifically Smitty, shout out to him, Smee7Y. He does ridiculous gameplays and funny moments, and watching him kill people with random objects that make no sense whatsoever was just that was appealing to me, so I bought the game, and that's pretty much what I did. I successfully assassinated a target with a raw chicken leg. That is my review of the game.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, Hitman 3, Call of Duty Vanguard, and most people would think oh yeah, there's a reason why this is up there on the weakest ones. Like, yeah, but I'll admit the campaign was pretty solid. I enjoyed the campaign thoroughly. It was really, really good. Story was solid. Characters were great. Gameplay was good. I enjoyed gameplay, and I did play a little bit of multiplayer. I did like it. It was okay, But it wasn't anything that I was just going to stick around for, especially since I was the only one who bought it out of my friend group, and I didn't want to force anybody else to buy it just so that way I could play it. So yeah, that's my experience with Call of Duty Vanguard.
Right.
And the last three
Mhm.
are ones that I actually did play thoroughly. So, Life is Strange: True Colors, played that as well, and I agree with the score. Because yeah, I didn't have any interest in any of the other games after playing the first one.
Yeah.
And then the trailer for this one snuck up on me. I didn't even realize that it came out. I checked it out and I was like, yeah, this looks good. And I played it. Yeah, like I agree with my brother, like same score here. Uh it's not as good as the original. So much so that like I was playing it and I was like, this is good, and it's definitely more engaging and keeping my attention a lot more than the original. But the whole time I was playing, I was like, I kind of want to replay the first one.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah, it's good. Like yeah, like if you were like me and you just didn't really have much of an interest in the second one or the spin-off, like this one I think is a good one to at least check out.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
especially right down to the point because I think like me and you were talking about it. I think like this is what really brings the score down, at least for me anyways, was the fact that it was a little predictable.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, like
Like I
whereas the
said,
first one, it was so unexpected, all the twists and everything in that one, but this one it was like you could kind of suss out who
yeah,
was
I figured it out pretty early.
yeah, who the bad guy was.
I figured it out pretty quickly. And so yeah, I think that is the only thing that kind of for me also that kept it from being a 10 out of 10 was I was like, oh, it's definitely this person.
Yeah,
So, but other than that, the game is fantastic. So.
yeah. So yeah, Life is Strange. Go check it out if you're a fan of the series. Definitely recommend it. Next up on the list, we got Far Cry 6. It's got Giancarlo Esposito as the main villain. You can't go wrong. The game, I still have yet to finish it, but what I did play and like all the characters that I did get to know, like the story was engaging, the characters were great, and the gameplay was just fun. Like in those videos that I did upload of Far Cry, like you could tell I was genuinely having fun playing it. I hadn't had that much fun playing a game like that in a while. Just like doing stuff, like playing the game, but like kind of playing it like an idiot. But still laughing at my mistakes. Like there's a clip in one of them where I blow up a truck and I didn't realize we needed the truck. But it's like
Yeah.
normally I would get frustrated and be like, well, great, now we gotta start over. But when that happened, it was just so ridiculous and so dumb that I just couldn't help but laugh at myself at how stupid I was in that scenario.
Yeah.
So
Straight up.
yeah, I highly recommend Far Cry 6. Again, like it's a new Far Cry game. It's Ubisoft. They've been making mistakes. Don't want to get into that because they made a really bad mistake recently. But yeah, like this one out of their recent installments of video games, I think this one's worth the purchase for sure. This one was a good game. And also, I think I should mention before I move on to the last game on my list, they did a lot with Far Cry to the point where if you don't play the game very frequently, like if you just get off the game and like stop playing it for a while, you will get emails from El Presidente.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like taunting you at the fact that you haven't beaten the game yet. Like they put a
Oh yeah,
lot
you
of
told me about that.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Like
did tell me about that.
it's great. So like they put a lot of effort into this game. So yeah, I highly recommend. And also Danny Trejo's in the game, and I gotta play this DLC like ASAP, man, because I love Danny Trejo, and even just seeing the short little clips that we got before the game released, like I was so in for this, like whatever it is. So yeah, definitely go pick this up.
Nice.
All right, last game on the list, and that is Halo Infinite. Yeah, game.
I was genuinely curious what was going to be your number one.
Yeah, Halo Infinite. I have yet to play campaign, and I really do. And I will admit, I watched the opening to this one, and I had a lot of complaints, along with a lot of people, about Halo 5 and Halo 4, especially the story and the direction that they went in. But watching the opening to Halo Infinite story got me interested in the Space Marine super soldier Master Chief and his journey and story.
Nice.
It got me sucked into that universe again. I was like, I want to see where this ends. I want to see where this goes. Like, I want to follow this journey again. So I definitely intend on playing campaign. I haven't yet. So that's good news. If I didn't like the last two installments and I'm loving this one, that should say something. Multiplayer. Multiplayer is fun. I have not had this much fun with a game like Halo in a long time. Like, we get on, me, Dr. Quack, I Feel Pretty, Tegan, we get on like every so often, like just at night, like it's the old, like it's way back in 2000s. Like we get in some Halo matches, and we just have fun. Like, it's just so much fun to get into an arena shooter, jump around shooting at people, grabbing the OP weapons and demolishing everybody and making people hate you. It's so much fun. It's so much fun being a scumbag in a video game.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check out this new Halo. It's so much fun, especially if you've got 3 other friends that would love to hop in and just run the show on some 12-year-olds.
Right on. So is that your list?
Yeah, that's my list.
Top five games of 2021. All right. Cliff, what were your top 5 games?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna kind of cheat. Well, there's 2 parts to it, right? One, I only have 4 games because really I didn't play that many video games this year, and anything that I could add into it wasn't really like kind of relevant. So 2 of the games I have were games that I did pick from last year because they're still going on now. So we'll start off with a new edition, right? A game that I brought in, Hero Wars, which is on mobile. So if you have Apple or you have an Android, go download this game. It's a lot of fun. It's free to play. You can build your characters up, customize them. It's really cool. I definitely enjoyed playing it. It was really, it's a blast. So definitely want to start with that. My other game that we're going to throw in, it's the one I threw from last year, but I keep playing this game and I've put so much time into it. I think I'm at like level 487 now. Dragon Ball Legends. Yeah. It goes without saying that I'm playing this game all the time, trying to win at things. Free to play. You guys have a lot of fun if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, like I am. I just tell you right now, like especially now they start releasing the Ultra Legend characters. Like I've been going crazy just trying to get these characters in my repertoire. Number 2, it's a game that Swag brought up, Vanguard. I genuinely enjoy playing Vanguard. I know a lot of people don't. People are just like, it's ridiculous, and the weapons are too OP, and blah, 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 whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. And I'm with you, man. Like, the multiplayer was fun. Like, I heard all the criticism, and like, when I played, I was like, I don't care what you guys are saying. This is a genuinely fun Call of Duty game.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I have so much fun. And then, like, actually getting, like, seeing all the new characters get put in there, and you can kind of use them and stuff. Definitely. And then my number 1 game, right, it's really a cop-out, kind of a cheat, and I don't really care. It's Warzone, because I'm still playing it. It's in a new season. We're in a new area for the Pacific. And I just unlocked my man from Oahu, so I definitely been running around with a Hawaiian just, like, murdering people.
I saw him, and I was like, dude, this guy looks sick.
Right.
Especially his tier 100 skin. Like, that's awesome. I gotta give that game a shout out for like all the different cultures that they like shed
Yeah.
some light on in World War II. Like they
Yeah.
did a lot. And I gotta give them some respect for that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
definitely
funny.
cool.
It's funny because Swag and I were actually having a conversation about that a while ago,
Yeah.
and how like there's a lot more to World War II than people realize. Like
Yeah.
just how many people participate. I mean, it's called World War II for a reason, you know. But like, if your only knowledge of that actual war is what's presented to you in movies and television, it's like maybe pick up a book and do some research because it's actually a lot more. There's way more going
Yeah.
on. But yeah, no, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I love playing Warzone. So I'm still jamming into it and still like beating people up and it's still like shooting at people. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I like to do.
Very nice, solid list of games, Cliff. And I'm not even gonna penalize you for because you brought that up, and I was like, I feel like video games are a tougher thing to do
Yeah.
if you're just like new releases, because you're right, like certain games, even if they're released a certain year, still pump out new content.
That's true. Yeah.
So
And I was even like thinking, I was like, yeah, I probably should have mentioned like Fortnite. Like we're still going strong on that game. Like I'm still playing the crap out of Fortnite right now.
they're doing crazy stuff right now.
They
So,
are. They are. That was, and I gotta say, shout out, like honorable mention to Fortnite, and like shout out that New Year's event was nuts.
yeah.
I got a crazy clip that I gotta upload soon. That was funny and like cool at the same time.
I was gonna ask you. I was like, you better have some footage because
Yeah.
going up.
Oh,
All right.
honorable mention
go ahead.
quick, and I'll make it real quick. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. If
Oh,
you're as
yeah.
old as I am, and you're into that, and that was like your thing when you were like a kid or like a young teenager, it's back. We're all in our Five Nights at Freddy's phase again.
Oh
This
yeah.
game is
I've
awesome.
seen it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. But that's all. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's get into music. Surprisingly, I listened to a lot of new stuff this year. But I am going to lead with one honorable mention, and it's something Cliff and I actually spoke about after a show one time. My honorable mention goes to Tickets to My Downfall by Machine Gun Kelly. I know the album dropped last year, but I didn't listen to it until this year. And if it had been a 2021 release, this would have been my most listened to album. Like straight up. That's how good it is. But again, I'm trying to stick to the rules. It's a 2020 release, so it does not make it on this list, but it gets an honorable mention. I love it. I can listen to that album from start to finish, not skip a single track. It's great. And I know MGK has a lot of haters. I don't care. Go stay mad about it. I like the guy. I think he's awesome. I like that he's making people mad
Yeah.
and in the music world. I like, I tend to agree with him.
Rockstar. He's got the most rock star mentality, like out of
He
people
really
now.
does.
Yeah.
Like the way he's disrupting not even just the rock scene, but even like the rap scene back in the day, and like people will trash talk. Oh, he had to start making rock music because he got his butt kicked by Eminem. He had to stop rap. He's still rapping.
Yeah.
He still releases rap tracks. Like he didn't stop rapping. He just decided to open up to a whole new fan base, and it's working. So props to him. Like I said, I like what he's doing, whether it's his music or even just like making people angry. I like the dude. He's cool. And the music is good. The music is genuinely good. Like this is genuinely a 10 out of 10 album. Like no joke. So yeah, like I said, if this were a 2021 release, this would have definitely been my number one. But it's not, so it's not. Honorable mention. Number 5. Let's go to number 5. I almost didn't include this one because I'm not sure it counts. I am gonna at number 5, the soundtrack album for The Suicide Squad. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I should count this because it contains a lot of classic tracks, but it does contain some new music as well. But I decided to let it slide because as a compilation that was released specifically in 2021 for a movie that was released in 2021, I'm going to go ahead and give it a green light. It's a great album. It's a great soundtrack to listen to. This is also one that I can listen to from start to finish and not skip a single track. It's phenomenal. It was curated by James Gunn, so if you enjoyed his Guardians of the Galaxy soundtracks, you're gonna love this one as well. Number 4. This is probably gonna surprise a lot of people. It surprised me as well. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. I genuinely loved this album. I originally had kind of a mixed reaction to it because I was kind of tricked into listening to it because everybody was like, "Oh, you should listen to it, man. She's doing rock music." And to be fair, she is, but there's only like 3 tracks on the whole album that are like rock music. And then the rest of it does sound like, if you've heard Driver's License, that's basically what the rest of the album sounds like. But once I got over that and actually just listened to the music, it's good music. It's really good. Like, and I can't wait to see what she does next. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really my favorite track on the whole album. Surprisingly, it's not brutal. It's not Good For You. It's none of those. It's a song called Jealousy, Jealousy. That's my favorite track on the album. So if anyone's listening, check that one out. Love it. This is also, yeah, I would probably give this a 10 out of 10 as well. Like, I'm going to give you a heads up. These are all 10 out of 10s for me. That's why they're my top 5, my top 5 of the year. So yeah, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. Phenomenal. Love it. Number 3, the soundtrack to Dark Knight's Death Metal. Holy crap, was this soundtrack.
I forgot that was this year.
It's amazing. And such a great collection of artists. For like the lead track is Forged by Neuron by Mastodon. We have artists that I love, like Gunship and Health, and who else is on here? So like Gray Days, Denzel Curry.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's so much great stuff on this album. If you're a fan of rock music, any kind of rock music, whether it's metal or industrial or vaporwave or whatever it is, if you're into any kind of alternative music, check out this soundtrack. It is so good. It's not even that it's the soundtrack to a comic book event that I loved. It's just so good as a soundtrack album itself. It's amazing. I love it. Check it out. Number 2. This is probably going to surprise nobody. If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power by Halsey. Produced by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. This is a phenomenal album from start to finish. And so many reasons why this is great. Like the lyrics by Halsey, phenomenal. The production by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, phenomenal. The fact that the two mix as well as they do, amazing. One of the best, probably one of the best albums I've ever heard in my entire life. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. What do you want me to say? Of course, this was going to make it this high on my top of the year. It's brilliant. This is another one. Again, just like all of these, I can listen to it from start to finish, not skip a single track. It's brilliant. If you haven't heard it yet, do yourself a favor. Listen. If you're just a fan of Halsey, you're going to love it. If you're a fan of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, you're going to love it. If you're a fan of both of those things, this is the album for you. All right? And I really hope the 3 of them continue this partnership, because even in the promotion of this album, you see just how well the 3 of them clicked in creating this album. And I really hope this is the beginning of a really long, fruitful partnership between the 3 of them. And number one for me, again, this might be biased. Some of y'all are going to be like, yeah, saw that coming. The soundtrack for Zack Snyder's Justice League by Tom Holkenborg, aka Junkie XL. Why? Not just that it's the score to a great movie that came out this year that I had some involvement with, but also this soundtrack, this score goes with everything. Yep. I mean, I listen to it when I work out. I listen to it when I'm working. I listen to it like the fact that the score is 52 tracks long. It's a 4-hour score, and I've listened to it the most this year. Again, I think the only album I've listened to more was Tickets to My Downfall. But the fact that I've listened to it in its entirety as much as I have shows you how great it is to listen to when you're doing anything, especially working out. It's a great thing to listen to when you're working out. So, but yeah, no, I love the score. I love the soundtrack. It's phenomenal. Junkie XL, he's up there with the big dogs for me, like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman. You put him up there with the best of them, there he is. So there it is. Those are my top 5 albums of the year. Cliff, I'm gonna throw it over to you.
Man, I will be honest. I didn't even pick albums. I did 5 songs.
Well, that's fine as well.
Because when we were talking about it and you were like, yeah, 5, and I was like, yeah, 5 songs. I definitely got this. Well, let's go with number 5 though. So it is something this is a very controversial song and also a very controversial music video. Mancinero by Lil Nas X. Yeah, we get
controversy.
Yeah, I was like, genuinely, like, the funny thing is, I think 4 out of the 5 songs I pick are on my, no, I'm sorry, 3 out of 5 are on my actual lifting playlist. So this is one of those songs that's actually on my playlist that when I go and lift to. Yeah, I just think it's a good song. I like it. I like just the beat to it. I think it's got great lyrics to it. I don't say it's got a great message. Just saying it's got great lyrics.
Yeah.
Let's get into number 4 though. It's gonna be "Stay," Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. Like, genuinely, I think it's more because like the TikTok video got me hooked on the song with like the dude who controls like the plane and the little drone. He's just dancing. Like the song got stuck in my head that way, and I'll be honest, that's how it happened.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah. So we'll get number 3. My ex's best friend. That's right. Machine Gun Kelly is right there. It's a number 3 spot. It's a great song. I love it. I don't care. I jam out to it all the time. And now I find myself full voice singing it. I don't even know all the words still. I listened to it that many times, so I still don't even know all the words. I'm not even worried about it.
Nice.
We'll jump into number 2, which is another one of my newer favorite songs that's actually out. But "Take My Breath" by The Weeknd. And it's always The Weeknd that's always got me hooked, man. He's always got something good for me, and I'm always hyped, like, listening to all of his music. I can listen to all of his albums and just never change a track. So I definitely I enjoy The Weeknd a lot. And last but not least,
with you because The Weeknd made your list last year as well.
Yep. I even remembered that. He said The Weeknd, and I was like, oh yeah, does like The Weeknd.
He's always. I feel like, what's crazy though is I remember when he first came out with Ariana Grande, and they were talking about like him like being the next big star, and one of my friends was like, "Quick, name your favorite Weeknd song," and he didn't come out with anything. And now think about it now, I'm like, dude, I could like rattle off tons of tracks. By the Weeknd.
So many tracks.
Last but not least, this is my favorite song of 2021, and there's a few reasons why. So if you don't know the song "Face Off," you should.
Yeah.
Because it's by Tech Nine, and a special guest, The Rock.
Yep.
Which, I mean, let's be real. When I'm feeling like down, I'm in the gym and I don't want to lift anymore, I put this track on, and I just legit get to the Rock's part because then I'm like, I feel like all my lifting increases by like 35% because then I just feel myself just pressing everything in the gym and just getting psyched.
Bro, you say that, and that's how I feel listening to the Justice League score. Like, there are certain tracks, like, if I'm not feeling it, I put those on, and I'm like, let's go! So, I'm with you, man. I get it. So,
I felt myself the other day, I was, like, deadlifting, and I was like, I don't want to lift up any weight. And I was still, and the song was playing in the background, and then I just heard The Rock. It's about pride. It's about power. And I was like, yeah, let's go.
You're right. It is about power. Let's do this.
Get that mana.
Love it. Oh, man. But those are your top 5, Cliff?
Those are my top 5.
Top 5. There it is. Give it up for Cliff, everybody. Great choices, man. Great choices. Swag. Let's hear your top 5 when it comes to music.
Yeah, so I'm gonna admit there's only one song that I've listened to that's like brand new this year. But I will fill in with some honorable mentions that I think are worth bringing up because they were stuff that I listened to a lot this year. But I will lead with the one song that came out this year, and that is Help Is On the Way by Waves with two V's. That song is at the top, the very top, the first song you hear when I play my playlist that I listen to all the time. That has been there all year, and it's still there. That song is really good, and I relate to that song a lot, and especially all through 2021. Like that was just my anthem that year. So yeah, that's the song for sure.
It's funny, before you move on, not to cut you off. Like I'm glad that you're still listening to Waves.
Yeah.
Because Swag showed me this song like early in the year, and I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "This is Waves," and I was like, "Wait, I love Waves," and I was like, "Wait, I introduced you to Waves." So the fact that you're still listening, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I love.
Yeah.
They're.
And I do gotta say, like, this song is great. This is my number one of the year. And it stuck with me. But I do it's still worth mentioning because that album was so solid. The album that it's from, that did come out this year, Hideaway, that's a really solid album. I do recommend it.
Yeah, you're right. That is a great track because after you showed it to me, I put it on my list as well.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
a great song.
Yeah.
So yeah, as for honorable mentions, I gotta say, I know I'm a bit late, and I kind of realized that when I started getting into this person's music, but I gotta give a shout out to MF Doom, rest in peace. His music, I found it this year, and I've just been jamming out to it all year, and it's really solid stuff, really good stuff. MF Doom, 2 albums that came out last year that will be honorable mentions for me. I want to get this out of the way. Tickets to My Downfall is on my list because that album is still on my playlist. And I don't think it's going anywhere. But as for the other album, it's going to have to be Ceremony by Fantagram. That album is solid. All the way through, I listened to that whole album all the way through on repeat for a week straight. It's just got so many good tracks, varying beats and tones, and it's really good for variety and just ambience and kind of keeping noise around. It's really good. So yeah, those are my picks. That's what got me through the year, and I listen to music all the time, a lot.
Yeah.
Playing video games, working on textures for mods and installing mods, troubleshooting mods, all that stuff. Always listening to music, always. So yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I also, before we move on, I want to give a shout out to, because we were talking about MGK. I think we all mentioned him in our top 5 list.
I know who you're going to talk about.
I've got to give him credit because listening to his music opened up the doorway to a lot of other artists that I otherwise wouldn't listen to. Chief among them, Youngblood.
Yep.
I love Youngblood, and I wouldn't have started listening to his stuff if it weren't for MGK. So shout out to Youngblood, and yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that stuff as well this year. So.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our choices for. I chose albums. Singles, which is cool. That's fine. Totally awesome. Yeah. All right, let's get into television for the year. Now I'm going to preface. I did cheat a little bit on this list, just a little bit, because I tried to keep it new television for the year. If I had done that, there would only be 4 on my list. I cheated a little bit. You'll understand when we get to it to get 5. So I'm going to start number 5, Marvel's What If. Great, fantastic show. Loved it. I think I loved every episode for the most part. Really great. the fact that they got so many of the live action actors to come back to do this series, and the fact that they explored so many different avenues and alternate stories and alternate versions of characters, and the fact that this show gave me the version of Ultron I wanted to see live action. Like, finally, yes, I know it was an animated and it was on television. Don't care. It was great. It was phenomenal. This show was great. Loved it. So yeah, it's my number 5 of the year. Number 4, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Again, I loved this show. Everything they did, from the storytelling to the cast, the production, just everything. Costume design. We got to talk about those costumes. That new Captain America suit. U.S. agent. Yes, exactly. Everything was on point in this show, and honestly, probably still my favorite new Marvel thing.
Yeah.
I am gonna be honest though. A little bit of transparency here. I still have not seen Hawkeye. I do want to see it. I just haven't gotten the time to watch it, so I can't say where that landed for me in 2021. But I will get around to it eventually. So that's the only reason that's not on this on the list. Number 3, Star Trek Prodigy. Although I am gonna cheat a little bit here and just say all of Star Trek for the year, because every Star Trek show that came out this year, whether it was season 2 of Lower Decks or season 4 of Discovery, but specifically Star Trek Prodigy, because that was the new one that came out this year. Phenomenal, fantastic, loved it. It is aimed more towards children, but it is still, like, if you're an adult, you can enjoy this show. The return of Captain Catherine Janeway, and there's so much to love about this show. I highly recommend it to anyone. If you're a fan of Star Trek, check out this show. It's great. You can check it out on Paramount Plus. It's awesome. Number 2, this is where I cheated, like, legitimately. Stargirl Season 2. Like, holy crap. I know Stargirl started last year, or 2020, but Season 2 specifically, fire. So much fire. Like, again, like we talked about it when we were reviewing it, I did notice that they were saving the budget throughout the season, because, like, there wasn't as much action as there was in Season 1, but boy, did it pay off when they gave it to us. Like, I feel like the mid-season point, the big fight when Eclipso finally revealed himself, great scene, great fight. And then the finale, they literally threw everything and the kitchen sink at us in the finale. Phenomenal. I felt like Stargirl Season 2 was incredible. Again, like we talked about, I feel like it was the most consistent of the DC shows that were returning for 2021. And it just held my attention. Even when there was no action, even when it was just character and story, I was engaged the whole time. So that's why Season 2 is up there. Again, honorable mention goes out to, like, Doom Patrol and Titans. I greatly enjoyed those shows as well. But I feel like Stargirl, strangely enough, outdid the both of them this year. So there it is. Season 2 of Stargirl. Number 1, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised, Superman and Lois. Yeah. Come on. As a brand new show on the CW. Are you kidding me? This show, I think, blew everybody out of the water. Like, exceeded all expectations. The cast was phenomenal. Costume design, the storytelling, the writing, just everything about this show worked. So, of course, it's my number 1 of 2021. And I cannot wait for Season 2. There it is, Superman and Lois. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on HBO Max right now. Cliff, what are your top 5 TV for 2021?
I too cheated, but not in the same way that you cheated. So let's get it started. Let's talk about how I cheated. I'm not going to have these in any ranked order. Uh-oh. So we're going to start off with Marvel. Mm-hmm. Just in general. Loki. Winter Soldier, Hawkeye. I mean, all of it, just to the point, man. It was great. WandaVision, right? I mean, I don't think that came out this year. I think it came out this last year.
So, yeah.
But yeah, definitely. That's how we're just gonna start. That's how it starts, right? Star Wars Visions. Like, we gotta talk about that. Like, you know, that was another great show.
The,
Loved
the
everything.
only reason I didn't count that is because I'm not sure it's a show. But regardless, I'll let you. I'm not gonna argue against it. Go ahead.
Next on my list would be the HBO Max shows, which would be Doom Patrol and Titans, because like those definitely fit, right? Another show that I'll definitely gonna throw in this mix too. Of course, Stargirl definitely belongs on that list, and then you know, our other show, Superman and Lois, definitely gonna rank up there, right? They belong, right? And so another show that I want to talk about, and I'm pretty sure none of us are gonna talk about this show, so I'm gonna bring it up because it was a show that I didn't know anything about. My wife read all the books, and I started watching the show, and then I started watching it, and I kind of found myself a little bit like watching it more and more. Shadow and Bone. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's on Netflix. It is really, really good. Ben Barnes is in it, and full transparency. I remember seeing Ben Barnes in the Punisher series, right, with John Berthel, and I was like, dude, this guy is amazing. This is a great American actor. Because I was sold on the fact that this man, the way he talked, his attitude, his walk, everything about Ben told me this is how American actors are. When I saw him in this movie and he had his accent, I was like, huh? It's a pretty solid accent that he's got going on here. Until I looked it up on IMDb and realized, oh no, that's really him. And I was like, I would have thought this man was from New York the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go check out Shadow and Bone. It's really, really good. Great plot. I know, like my wife said that the stories were getting mixed up a lot. I really didn't understand, but I was just still like enjoying what I was watching. So you guys definitely go check it out. It's definitely a lot of fun. Those are my tops.
Nice, very nice, solid list, man. That's really good. Yeah. Swag. What about you? I feel like yours might be a little.
Yeah, mine's short.
You don't watch a lot of television, but regardless, go ahead.
It's like, yeah, like I think if we're just gonna keep it simple and just like short, like just my number one, the only one that like when you brought it up was like, oh yeah, that was this year. That is the number one for me. I had Superman and Lois was
nice.
That show was phenomenal. It was amazing, and I can't wait for season 2. So that is like the one that I will have to like say like that's my number. What If? That was a good one. And yeah, like there, it was kind of like slow, but I didn't hate it. Like the beginning, I mean, like after the first episode, like it started to pick up and got much better. And yeah, like Ultron, like seeing him, get to his full potential in that series was awesome. Like it was amazing. So yeah, and it even like, like I love What If, like I love that show when it made me think more about the MCU and made me frustrated.
Hey, Swag, real quick, your mic is like really like you're cutting out in and out really bad. You're clipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to fix that, so.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we'll just have to make do. But yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
But like, yeah, like I just started thinking about the MCU again, like how much they wasted a character like Ultron, and I had conversations about it. But yeah, like that show goes on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Captain America or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was a.
Well, either way, I feel
like either way, I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, but yeah, like that was.
Because when it ended, and the title card comes up, it says Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen the show.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that. That was a great show. Again,
Yeah.
like this year, I think I will admit, like I think this the MCU flip. I wasn't at all interested in Iron Man.
Mhm.
But after seeing the series shows they put out lately, I think it's getting more attention, which is good because I was kind of upset that I had to that I was, I wasn't interested in Marvel, and it kind of made me feel bad because it made me like to myself, anyways, that I was hating on Marvel, which I
Yeah.
but it was just decisions and the way that the direction they were going.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that sentiment as well. I feel like this year Marvel did, whether it's with their television series or even what they're doing with their movies, specifically. Like, look, we're about to get into top 5 movies of the year, so I
Mhm.
feel like this is the perfect time to address them right now. So we're going to talk about top 5 movies of the year. Still have not seen Spider-Man: No Way Home. I want to, just have not seen it, so it will not be on the list. Have not seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. Again, I want to, but I haven't seen it, so it will not be on the list. Didn't get to see Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. I want to, but I haven't seen it yet. So what I'm saying is, there are movies I wanted to see this year, but I
Yep.
haven't gotten to. So if you're wondering, well, where was this on the list? It's because I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it.
Yep.
But I bring up Spider-Man specifically in regards to what you were saying about the MCU. Like,
Yeah.
I know someone you and I both know, Alex from High Top Swim. He and I
Yeah.
had a very similar reaction to Spider-Man: Far From Home, where that movie kind of rubbed us the wrong way, and it was like, I have no
Yeah.
interest in the third MCU Spider-Man. That changed very quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, Marvel straight up, like, this year did a lot of really good stuff to really pique my interest again, and I am very much looking forward to what they do in the next coming year, especially Moon Knight is coming up. That is the next MCU series scheduled. We don't have a release date yet, but I'm waiting for that one. So, but yeah, so I agree with what you're saying about like What If and Falcon and Winter Soldier and all that.
Yeah. Actually, you know
Yeah,
what?
just
I think this counts, right? This should count. I'm just gonna say this counts. I'm gonna cheat
go ahead.
for like shows and series. I'm
Mhm.
gonna throw Critical Role on this list.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue.
Because like that. If you had like said something about like me watching D&D like being played
Yeah,
on the internet like a year ago, like I would have been like, no, what are you talking about? That's stupid. Like, why would I want to watch that? That makes no sense. But
yeah,
Critical Role, like getting into them, like watching them play D&D, like I want to play D&D. Like I
yeah,
brought the idea up to my friend group, and like I'm getting them interested in it, and like it, just watching these goofballs play this game and like kind of halfway take it seriously, but then also mess up and like make jokes
yeah,
about all the time.
and just have fun.
Yeah, I
Yep.
love it. I love tuning in every Thursday. It's amazing.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna give them an honorable mention as well because I watch it every week, and it's because of you. You're the one who got me into it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Top, like Cliff, you did your TV picks, right?
Yep, I did.
I just don't want to skip over anyone. So, all right, yeah. So there it is, TV 2021. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna talk about top 5 movies of 2021. I'm gonna warn you guys ahead. My list is probably gonna surprise you guys, and I mean that genuinely. First of all, though, I have to give a few honorable mentions, but I'm also going to give one dishonorable mention. The only movie this year that I genuinely hated, that I genuinely had a negative, like super negative reaction to, Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe
Yeah.
Origins. big dishonorable mention to that movie. Oh my goodness. That movie disappointed me so bad and made me just so the clear lack of understanding of the characters and even what you even wrote. Like, it still boggles me. How do you misfire that bad? Oh my god. Like, I know we already talked about it on the show, so like people listening or watching, like, you already know my thoughts and opinions on why that movie sucked so bad, so I'm not going to go over it again. Just know that movie is my only dishonorable mention of the year. Don't waste your time or your money on that movie. Terrible. Honorable mentions. These are movies that came out in 2021, but again, they just barely missed out on the top 5. But I feel they need to be mentioned. The Protege, starring Maggie Q, Samuel L. Jackson, and Michael Keaton. This movie surprised me in the best way possible because I saw the ads, saw the trailers, looked like your average like revenge thriller about an assassin, blah blah blah, and it is that, but the movie works on a level that I wasn't expecting it to, and a lot of it comes down to the performances, chief among them Maggie Q and Michael Keaton. First of all, Maggie Q, one of the great female action stars of all time. I've been a big fan of her for well over a decade. And I know she's been doing it longer than that, but well over a decade for me. So I was intrigued by this movie for her alone, and she did not disappoint. Number 2, Michael Keaton, specifically in this movie. For a man who's in his 70s, I'm going to spoil minor spoilers. This man, if you had any doubts that he in his 70s is still capable of playing a capable badass Batman, watch this movie. All right, that'll put any fears or doubts to rest. Like, he genuinely surprised me in this movie. But also just his performance. The man is infinitely watchable. He's still so charismatic and magnetic on screen that, like, if you're going to watch this movie for no other reason than just to watch him and Maggie Q, worth it. Like, this movie, phenomenal, fantastic. Check it out. The Protege. My other honorable mention for this year, an animated movie, The Mitchells versus the Machines, which I know debuted on Netflix, and I meant to watch it on Netflix, but it did get a physical release, and I picked it up, watched it. Oh my god, this movie was great. It's an animated movie, and you're wondering, like, well, why should I watch it? Well, let me tell you, Cliff, if you're a fan of a cult animated series called Clone High, check out this movie. If you're a fan of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, check out this movie. If you're a fan of the Lego Movie, check out this movie. If you're a fan of 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street, check out this movie. You guys see where this is going, right? If you're a fan of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, check out this movie. That's right. It is from the minds of Lord and Miller. That alone should be enough for you to check out this movie. It's amazing. I had the best time watching this movie. It's so good. And it's a great family movie. Cliff, you and your family can watch it. If you haven't already watched it, could definitely check this out and have a great time. So those are my honorable mentions for the year of 2021. 2 more honorable mentions. This is real quick. Neither of these movies came out in 2021, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the 4K Blu-ray release of Scream, the original Scream from 1996 on 4K Blu-ray. This looks incredible. All right, if you're a 4K guy like me, check this movie out. If you're a fan of Scream, this movie looks amazing, remastered, restored in 4K. My last honorable mention, this should come as no surprise. I already talked about it earlier in the year. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition, IMAX restored 4K. This is not the same 4K that came out in 2016. This one came out this year in 2021, and this is the definitive version of the movie to watch. It's amazing. If you can get your hands on it, check it out. All right, those are my honorable mentions. Now let's get to the top 5 movies of 2021. Number 5, Val, over on Amazon Prime. This documentary, I hesitate to call it a documentary because it's a collection of home movies that chronicle Val Kilmer's life and his career. Again, I hesitate to call it a documentary because it's all from his point of view. It's all his perspective. It's all his own, home movies and footage that he shot himself. Regardless, what an experience. Like, I watched this and it, like, I laughed, I cried, I learned things about the man, and I walked away with such an appreciation for not just Val Kilmer as an actor, which I already had, but as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, this is genuinely an experience, and I highly recommend it to anyone. If you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It is totally worth a watch. Even if you're not a fan of Val Kilmer, even if you're not like, oh, I don't really want to watch a documentary, check it out. It's phenomenal, fantastic. Cannot recommend it enough. 5 out of 5. Number 4, The Green Knight. I know, again, I did a mini review for it earlier in the year, but this movie, it affected me in a way I didn't think a movie could. I had a reaction to it I was not expecting to have. It's a little pretentious at times. I think everybody who's seen it will admit it's a little pretentious and a little slow moving at times. But trust me, by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's all worth it. Going on that journey, it is totally worth it. Because like I said, I had a reaction to it that I was not expecting to have. And it's brilliant. Check it out. The Green Knight, 5 out of 5. Number 3, Dune, Part 1. Need I say more? Like, we talked about this, Swag and I did. Cliff wasn't here, but what can I say, man? I was so looking forward to this movie as a fan of the book and waiting to see it done on screen like this for so long. Did not disappoint. Great cast, direction by Denis Villeneuve, the score by Hans Zimmer, like everything about this movie, phenomenal. Loved it. Number 2, this one's gonna shock people. And some of you are going to be like, what is this? I've never even heard about it. This is fairly new. It only released in the last 2 weeks or so. And I checked it out because they did a simultaneous. You can watch it on demand. You don't have to go to a theater. You can watch it on demand tonight if you want to. The Novice, directed by Lauren Hadaway. Now, some of you are like, I've never heard of this movie. I don't know who Lauren Hadaway, who is it? Little bit of explanation. So, Lauren Hadaway is one of Zack Snyder's proteges. And some of you are probably rolling your eyes right now, right? Let me explain. I was always going to check out this movie and support it. She worked on Justice League. Like I said, she worked very closely with Zack. She's one of his proteges. This is her feature film directorial debut. Now, obviously, I was always going to check out this movie and support it just because she's Snyder Cut fam. You know what I mean? I was not expecting to be blown away by this movie the way that I was. Like, holy crap, it's not even just that she comes from that pedigree, that she's part of the Snyder fam. This movie is totally worth watching. Like, this movie blew me away. I didn't know what to expect. It's amazing. Like, if you need me to describe to you, why should you check it out? Imagine the psychological body horror of Black Swan mixed with, like, that looming sense of doom at the cost of success from, like, Whiplash. It's those two things mixed together, but it's about, like, collegiate rowing, a female rowing. She's a female competitor. Yeah, this movie, whew, as close to perfect as you can get. This movie is phenomenal. It shook me to my core. I'm not going to spoil anything about this because it's a smaller movie. I know a lot of people haven't heard about it, and most people probably won't see it for another couple months anyways. But if you can, check it out as soon as possible. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. The Novice. Check it out. Yeah, like I said, I guarantee you my list was going to surprise a bunch of people. Like, where's all the comic book stuff? Where's all the blah, blah, blah? It's like, guys, there's more to life and movies than comic books. Heroes and all that stuff. You got to look outside of that and find other things to feed your brain. that being said, number one, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, what did you guys expect? What did you guys expect? And again, maybe I'm a little bit biased, maybe it's a little too close to me, but in terms of how much I enjoyed watching anything this year, and considering this movie is 4 hours long, the amount of times I've been able to rewatch it this year, I mean, it speaks for itself, man. Like, everything we had to go through to get it, to see this vision restored and released to the world, the vindication of all that, and the fact that it's just good. It was worth it. It was worth all the fighting and all the trouble to get it out there. Yeah, it's easily my number one. So there it is. Cliff, top 5 movies of 2021.
All right, so my honorable mention is probably the one that's going to shock people. Hear me out, okay? Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That is my honorable mention movie. Without saying, you guys all know, I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but I feel like there's some other movies that came out that were just a little stronger, and probably some people are going to be surprised by some of the movies I pick. So let's get into what I would call my number 5 movie, The Harder They Fall. We talked about this movie back in like August. We talked about the trailer. I actually got to see it. So good. You guys need to go check it out on Netflix. That's really... I'm not even going to dive into the plot about it because it's not necessary for you guys. Just know Idris Elba's in it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So go check it out.
Just go check it out.
So we're going to jump into number 4, which, without saying, it will be something that people will be, oh, yeah, I forgot. Mortal Kombat, Battle of the Realms. Because, I love animated movies, too. And I picked that one over all the animated movies that came out.
Watch that and play the game at the same
we're gonna
time,
jump into exactly murder people while you're beating up people. We're gonna jump into number 3. I feel like this movie is probably recency bias, but I'm not gonna lie, man. The Matrix Resurrections definitely made my list. I'm not gonna play around like it didn't. So no shock to that. Number 2 will be Justice League, yes, because I'm a huge fan as well, and just for every reason that Antonio just told you, same reasons. Number 1, though, probably the newest movie that came out, and I genuinely just enjoyed this movie, and I could watch it probably multiple times. Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote the score for it. If you guys haven't seen Encanto yet, go check out Encanto, please, man. It's such a great Disney movie, great cast, great voice acting, and then you really get drawn to the story of just what it means to have like a real family around you and have that nice little charm about the family in your home. So yeah, those are my movies for this year. I know, like, you guys are all like, well, where's King Kong versus Godzilla? Didn't make the cut. Where's Wonder Woman? Didn't make the cut. So tough it out.
Straight up, man. Like, there are so many movies I wanted to put on my list, but again, like, narrowing it down to top 5. Again, that's not to say any of those movies are bad. Yeah. Like, I wanted to put a bunch of animated movies on my list, Cliff. Like, straight up. But I had to be like, what were the top 5 that, like, really either meant something to me or moved me in a way? Those are my top 5. That's to say, if I extended this to top 10, best believe some of those movies would be on my list as well.
Right.
So, but straight up, man. Like, shockingly, there were a lot of movies to watch this year. So, I didn't even talk about No Time to Die, which I saw, and I struggled with, like, do I put that on my top 5? I don't know. It's really good. It's definitely worth a recommendation and a watch. I don't know. But regardless, again, that's Cliff's top 5. That was my top 5. Swag, what about you?
Make it quick, because there's one that I want to mention that you, Antonio, forgot to mention. I don't even know if you remembered that this was a thing, because I want to bring this up because you said something, and I was like, yes, we need to talk about this, because I don't even think we told Cliff about this yet. And this is on my list for sure, because I had a good time watching this, especially getting to talk about it with you and, like, laughing so hard about it. But, okay, Justice League, Suicide Squad, obviously. Those are there for me. Both of the Mortal Kombats, the live action and the animated. Now, I want to shed some light on this because it's that thing where it was such a small thing that I just got recommended the trailer on YouTube and I was like, this looks amazing, I need to see this. And even when Antonio went to go look for it, it was buried in the app.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. Okay.
So I want to tell you guys about a little movie animated called America the Motion Picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know
And-
what? In my defense, and again, like this is not to detract from because I did enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, forgot it came out this year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and even like until you mentioned like Lord and Miller and
Lord and
Clone High, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that
it's a
happened
Lord
this
and
year.
Miller joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you said that, and then I remember, I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing. And I was like, wait, that was this year. I was like, that happened when Carlos was here.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
it's
man.
got Channing Tatum, Jason Mantzoukas, Olivia Munn, Bobby Moynihan, Judy Greer, Will Forte, Raul Max Trujillo, Killer Mike, Simon Pegg, Andy Samberg, much more. This cast was stacked, and this movie was hilarious start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I remember watching it and I was like, is this like some weird Clone High prequel or something? Because it had that vibe to it.
Dude.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't believe I forgot that movie, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, that movie that made my list. Again, no particular order for any of those. Like I gotta clarify. There was no particular order, and I just named them off the top of my head. Those are the top 5 for me. Like I got enjoyment out of all of those this year, and those are all memorable to me, and I love them all so very, very much. With that
Yeah.
said, I will say the number one out of those 5 is definitely Justice League. Because I keep, and again, it's like, yeah, like it's kind of cliche among us 3, but I keep talking about it to my friends and like everybody. Like I get on and like sometimes the conversation will start and I'll just go. I'll just like just start talking and like geeking out over it and like telling like this is the best superhero movie that's been made in a while. Like this, if not of all time. Like this is a great movie. This is really good.
Yeah.
And like I would always list my reasons. I would always tell them my argument as to why. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to argue against any of those choices. So, no, yeah, and again, like I struggled with whether to include the Suicide Squad, and again, extend the list to top 10. That definitely would have been on my list. But yeah, no, great choices. I'm glad you brought up what is it called?
America the Motion Picture.
America the Motion Picture. I'm glad you brought that up because again, honestly forgot.
Yeah,
But
check it out on Netflix. If you guys haven't heard of it, haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Again, it's from Lord and Miller, which shocked me because like I hadn't even seen the trailer for it before Swag told me about it.
Yeah,
so
I just said, hey, there's this thing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You want to check it out? And then you watched it.
I watched it over 4th of July weekend.
Yep. Perfect timing. Yeah.
So yeah, no, totally great choice, man. All right, so there it is. Those are our top 5 for the year 2021. Cliff, did you have anything you wanted to add before we get out of here, or no?
No, I really don't have it. Well, actually, I did see the Suicide Squad finally. We'll tell you that. So, as far as you guys saying that belongs to the top 5, yeah, I definitely would agree. Like, I know, like, if we had to extend it out to the top 10, I definitely would have put that in there because, you know, maybe just Peacemaker walking around in a pair of whitey tighties is probably something that would have just put that in the movie already. Also, by the way, I just want to mention that, you know, Pete Davidson, you are a dick. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's funny because like I'm not gonna spoil anything either, but if you watch the behind the scenes when they were shooting the scene, and Pete, he talks about like I'm about to do this, and he's like, which that's gonna make Twitter real happy, and I laughed because I was like, oh, he's aware that some people don't like it, so. But yeah, no, yeah, the Suicide Squad is great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's awesome. it was one of my comfort movies for 2021. So, and that's why I was like, oh man, it hurts me not to put it in the top 5, but there it is. But yeah, so there it is. Swag, any final thoughts or comments that you want to bring up before we get out of here?
Nope. It was it's a fun year. Definitely better than 2020, that's for sure.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I will definitely agree with that for sure. All right, so I guess that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start wrapping it up. Cliff, the champion, the Red Dog. Let everybody know where they can find you online and where they can find you offline.
Yeah, definitely. So if you guys want to, you guys can follow me on LinkedIn. All right, I'm sorry, not LinkedIn, but we'll go linktree.com/the_reddog85. That's where you can find all my stuff. Even if you just went to any of your favorite social media platforms and just typed in the_reddog85, you can find me there. You can also find my merch store, right? So you go to whatamaneuver.com/collections/the_reddog. I think it's just red_dog. Or you can even go to prowrestlingtees.com/the_reddog85. Of course, I'm going to keep it all the same because I want you guys to find me. That's it. It's just simple. Also, if you guys want to, check me out on the 3 Count podcast, as well as Now Entering Ring, which is coming out with this 200 guest, which we haven't told anybody who it is. We've also dropped hints. And I'll drop a hint here too, right? So if you guys are paying attention to TikTok, it did tell you that this person has won an Emmy. And if you did pay attention to Instagram, you would have known this person has 2 of the same initials. So there's you guys' 2 hints. And then for this show, because I'm going to do it for, Nerds at a Round Table, he has interviewed Peacemaker, as well as Shazam, as well as, maybe somebody he's interviewed a few times called The Rock. I don't know. You guys might want to go check it out. But there's you guys' hints for that. And then you guys know. That's where I'm at. But if you guys want to check me out, January 8th, I'm going to be in Pennsylvania. January 15th, I'll be in New Jersey. And then I'll be a part of Invictus, January 29th. So the boy be traveling, the boy be putting in work, and the boy being the champ. That's what I do. So, guys, check me out also on Kayfabe Junkies and on Facebook. And you can actually watch my finals match and watch me win this baby.
Right on. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, Cliff is he's a busy boy. He's going to be real busy this year. He's got to defend that title. And again, we're still trying to figure out Cliff's availability on the show, but we're going to try and have him on the show as often as possible for 2022. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Go follow him, show him all the love, all the support. He's the champion. He deserves it. Swag, let everybody know where to find you and what you're up to in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so you can come over to youtube.com, Mr. Swagtastic. I've got tons of content planned. New year, hopefully I can, make up for all the lost time that I've had over 2021. It was a busy year, and I don't regret it because it was fun. I had a lot of fun just hanging out with family, doing things, and just, living life. But that said, I have plenty of ridiculous clips and moments that I will be uploading to the channel soon, including one that I mentioned earlier in this episode of the podcast. So yeah, if you're interested in that, go check it out on the YouTube channel. I am also planning on trying my best to get a kind of year in review video. It's the only way I could describe it for my channel. But yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing at all, come check it out. Come hang out. It's a good time.
Right on. Go check it out. Mr. Swagtastic on YouTube. Y'all know what to do. It's a good time. I am, of course, Antonio Padilla. You find me on all social media. It's either @TronPilgrim or @TronPilgrim87. You'll know which one is me. Don't forget to like Nerds of the Roundtable on Facebook, facebook.com/real Nerds of the Roundtable. Follow us on Twitter @realnerds_. And if you're watching us on YouTube. And if at any point during this video you enjoyed the show, you enjoyed yourself, please consider giving us a like rating. Helps us out. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell notification so you can get notified every time there's a new video posted. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of 2021. What were your favorites? You know, we'd love to hear from you. And if you're listening to us, and believe me, like, we appreciate all of our longtime listeners of the show, especially if you've been with us since day one. You're probably listening to us anchor.fm/nerds, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are available. We appreciate you and hope you'll stick with us into 2022 and beyond. Now, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. Join us next time, same nerd time, same nerd channel. Good night, folks. Swag, cue that outro.
Yeah.